Shalom. Let me get straight into this video, but I'm gonna watch what I say because the algorithms be picking up on certain words, so I'm gonna talk in a code. Because it's like when we say something, they'll flag the video, but when other people like redacted go into this information, they won't flag it. So, because we filter everything through the spirit and through the scriptures, but the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, right? So that's pursuant to the book Job 9:24. And the precept to that is Malachi chapter 1, verse 3 and 4, the border of wickedness, which is Esau Edom. And you go into this other information, who these so-called white people, Jewish, so-called Germans, um, so on and so forth, so-called Spanish, the original Spanish, right? Because that's a lot of history. I ain't gonna even go too deep with it. But this in the modern day of what the word Spanish mean from the Edomites that took over Spain and Portugal during the Renaissance. So this was all the inside job. A lot of people in this world are under this illusion, and they use this word conspiracy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show you instead of saying it. So they use that word right there. If you look at the very top, to they use that word. That word is a deflection word. So when they throw that word right here in the mix, it makes people automatically tune it out, whatever the information is. And that's why when it comes to this subject, people write it off as, a conspiracy. You know what? Right? So it says proof. Those planes were not, you see what it is on 9. So going back here, because what they'll do too, in this video, they'll put like a Wikipedia. They'll use the term conspiracy theory to put in within my video, this lesson. So this pilot, and I suggest you brothers and you sisters will watch this full video. It's going to thoroughly break it down and prove that this is true. That I'm going to see how much, if I can play some of it about this subject. Remember, I'm talking in a code because I'm trying not to say certain words because they're going to end up flagging the video. So let's get into this.
Well, just about everything we've been told about the 9/11 attacks has been a lie, of course. One of the biggest lies is that a group of Muslims with almost no flying experience somehow hijacked 4 airliners, flew 2 of them into the Twin Towers, 1 of them into the Pentagon, 1 of them into a field in western Pennsylvania. We, of course, now know that didn't happen. Captain Dan Handley is a former 25-year United Airlines pilot, 10-year U.S. Naval aviator before that. He serves as director and international public spokesperson for the global grassroots effort called the 9/11 Pilot Whistleblowers. And Captain Dan is revealing what exactly happened on that day with those aircraft. And he joins us now. Captain, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
So this is guy here that when I watched this whole video, it's already what we knew, but just seeing all the evidence and just all the unrefutable proof that this was all an inside job. And I'm just gonna leave it at that. So you should know what I'm saying when I say that. And these people, right, the elites, let's just use that word, they do a lot of psychological ops on your mind using the media to give you narratives that are not true. And once they hear these narratives, the average person, once they hear repeated over and over on the so-called news, they brain can't discern that this is actually a lie, even though we can show them all the proof in the world. They still can't comprehend that this is a lie because that's the psychic of the mind. These people have broken down the mind, the brain, and they've studied it. They know that the average American is operating on the 6th grade level. Most about 50% of people are borderline illiterate. The reason why I say this because what's the measure of intelligence? You got to ask yourself that question. What is the measure of what makes a person intelligent? And when you go deep into it, what makes a person intelligent? So let's go to this word intelligence, Lakia, which is that's where you get the word intel from. So when you go into this word intellectual or intellect, let me go to the etymology of it. Right. So I'm just gonna leave this right here and do it on my other phone. But I want you to watch this whole video right here. Like I say, this is the name of it. Go watch the whole thing. Your jaw will be dropped. It is unrefutable evidence. It says the word intellectual originates from Latin intellectus, meaning understanding, intellect, which is derived from the verb intelligere, meaning to understand, discern, discern. So that word intelligent goes back into understand. So the people in this society and call themselves PhDs and masters and bachelor's degrees, they don't understand that they're not intellectual. They just been taught a curriculum. They've been taught about this system, and that's what their measure of intelligence is, but it's not based on anything real, if you understand what I'm saying, in the real grand scheme of life. So the real intellectual people will be a person that's well rounded. They understand how this world is set up, the spiritual piece of it, what's going on, how to correctly eat. So that's another thing. You might have somebody have a PhD on the wall, but they're borderline diabetic because they still eating this poison, fast food, that they've been Salak, give me 1 second. And they still eating the fast food of this place. Let me play this real quick. Salakia. 1 second. Okay, yeah. So I had to get it back on the screen. So yeah, they that person really don't have any intelligence. So the average American is pretty much dumb, even if they have a so-called college education, because they, again, the measure of intelligence is based on what they've been taught in the system, that they taught you what they wanted you to know. You understand what I'm saying? So you're not really getting any well-rounded thing, learning anything in life. It is really based in folly. So you got this situation right here that happened, and you got a lot of people that consider this a conspiracy when you even talk about the thought of anything else going on besides what they've been taught or told through the mainstream media. Remember, I went into that yesterday, going into how to control the world. That the elites, it's gonna call them an elites. They will control the media. They will control what you see, right? The perception of things. Like most people don't understand no other way of life besides what they've been taught under this Edomite culture. They think this is the only way of life. Somebody they actually believe in a 30-year mortgage. Like most people just think that's just the way it is, but they don't understand that that makes no sense when you really think about it. A 30-year mortgage, right? You know what's going to happen in 30 years, and you actually paying for that home double and triple depending on interest. So to the miseducated public, that's normal to them because they don't have no other reference point, no other source of how things supposed to be done. So let me get some real quick. Give me 1 second. So the man of sin is being revealed, and they did this for many different reasons. This situation right here that I'm talking about, because after that they went into Iran, if I'm not mistaken, Iraq, Salakia. Let me see something. Salakia. And I'm just going to pull some up real quick. It says right here, it says 20 years after Iraq war began. And this, trying to go to this timeline, Salakia. Give me 1 second. 1 second, Salakia. All right, so I got this right here. It says the United States invaded Iraq in 2003 to overthrow Saddam Hussein because Saddam wasn't taking the petrodollar. He was going to be using the euro, if I'm not mistaken, and they couldn't have that. And that's this bully that has reigned over all the kings on earth in Revelation 17 of Babylon, America. It says, and disarm Iraq of weapons of mass destruction. What they lied about that, they found no weapons of mass destruction. That was all a plan, because they was planning to invade these countries in a certain time frame. The last country I think they got left is Iran, and you see what's going on. It's like they pretty much getting ready to plan a WAR with Iran, and that's gonna involve Israel and all that, and it's gonna lead to World War III. It says the invasion was part of Bush administration war on T-word in response to the September 11 attacks. That was all made up. If you watch this right here, watch the entire in its entirety, it will have your jaw dropped right here. This video, and I'm scared to really play it because they might do some BS. But they even got something that I did some research on that they can take over airplanes and like, you know, autonomy, like a Tesla. You know, they can, no, not really like a Tesla. It's kind of like a Tesla, but they can override the system and 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 be able to, how can I say it? Be able to maneuver and pretty much take control over aircraft. They've been having this technology, I think, since 1944, and they've just been perfecting it, you know. So by this time, they even did this thing that he's going to talk about when they took over a Boeing. It was a Boeing 7 something, if I'm not mistaken. It was fully autonomized, and they crashed it. I think in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. Salakia, not 2008, but I mean 19. You have to just watch the video. But I think it was in 2000. I forget because I watched the whole thing, but I just forgot that part. But it was a situation when they took control of a Boeing plane and was able to crash it. So the technology been around, so it's crazy. But check this video out. Hopefully this has been edifying. Call Halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakak Quadash. Shalom.